for interpretation and seeking the Lord. So I'm just sharing with you some of the things, the dreams that I've received. Okay, on the 24th of March, this was a significant dream. This is one of the reasons I wanted to make this video. I saw the Bitcoin price and it was over 100,000. It was like about 109,000, and it froze on that, and then it changed to 111,000, and it froze on that for a few seconds. And I sold in the dream what I had, and I saw my balance on the exchange, which corresponded to an Electroneum price of about $1.50. So that's based on my current holdings, so that may change. And then I saw the price of Bitcoin crash rapidly, and I saw the price, as if it was written, I saw it flashing and changing to lower prices, lower and lower, all the way down to zero. I saw it go all the way down to zero. And then I looked at my balance on the exchange, and it was also zero. And I was shocked at that. And then the scene changed in the dream, and I was telling my brother that this was very important information. And then the dream ended, and I woke up. So that's very significant. That shows that Bitcoin is looking to climb at least to over 100,000. I'm not saying that, in my interpretation, that 111,000 is the exact top, but that was shown to me.
So this part that I'm doing right now is an additional part that I recorded a day later because people had asked me about, well, Electroneum is supposed to be at $1.50. So it can't be true because Electroneum isn't there yet as far as the pricing point, and Bitcoin is between 109 and 111,000. Now, first of all, this is just a prophetic alert to telling you guys, hey, we're this close. This is something that we've been waiting for, right? You either believe it or you don't. You either have low buy limit orders in or you don't. And I shared with you guys that it could take a year for this to crash to zero. We don't know how these things are going to play out. But the thing about it is, if Electroneum ETN is going to be $1.50, and let's say Bitcoin does this pullback, right? Maybe at some point in the future that we're going to see Electroneum at $1.50. They're going to release some news, or they're going to add more exchanges, or something's going to happen to where it's going to push that price up to $1.50. So you either believe it or you don't. Like when it comes to Christopher Harris, you either believe in the Bitcoin crash and setting up buy limit orders, ETN, and Luna Classic. Now, the CEO of Electroneum, this was back in 2021, the Digital Pound Foundation launches to promote CBDC development in the UK. Richard Ells was one of the ones that is on this task force. He also runs the ETN project. So basically, he's helped develop the digital pound, the CBDC. And not only that, the same people that worked on the board, on that same board is Susan Friedman from Ripple. Right? Not saying they're getting together and they're going to have some kind of partnership with Electroneum or anything like that. I'm just simply saying that the same Digital Pound Foundation where they're helping develop the Digital Pound CBDC, both somebody from Ripple and the CEO of Electroneum was on this particular board. And for those of you who want to know, you can purchase it on MEXC, Gate, KuCoin, HTX, Bitconomy, CoinX, Probit Global. Now, most of these platforms, United States users cannot get on, but I know some of you use VPN, you have Palau ID, so you guys can purchase ETN. And also, too, when it comes to ETN, I believe you can purchase it on Uniswap by using Ethereum, but it's a wrapped ETN. Right now, we're going to go ahead and get into the main part of the video, but I just wanted to share this. Obviously, something is going to happen with Electroneum that's going to push the price up. And we've been waiting for Bitcoin to reach over 100,000 for this very moment. Have our pullback and go back up. But in the meantime, I'm going to prepare how the prophetic dream came about. Whether it happens or not, it doesn't matter. And if it doesn't happen, it just doesn't happen. It's not going to change the way that I looked at crypto. It's not going to change me trading cryptocurrencies or the stock market or anything else. So let's go ahead and get into the main part of the video. Welcome to the Wealth Transfer with TC. Today, I'm putting out this prophetic alert about Bitcoin being around that 109 and 110, 111,000 mark. A prophetic pricing point that we have been looking for ever since that it came out over 4 years ago. And it's the main reason why we are here and we're placing low buy limit orders. And if you guys saw my previous video that I just did, I shared the original prophecy of the Bitcoin crash, right? And that's Bitcoin going to zero and then people placing low buy limit orders for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And that was put out by Christopher Harris. Now, I don't consider Christopher Harris a prophet. He's just a dreamer. He posts his dreams. He doesn't put himself out there like a lot of other people and giving dates and time frames and begging for money and all this other stuff, which you see a lot of the other wealth transfer actual prophets do. And if you hear him speak, you can tell the difference between him and many other people. So looking at dreams in general, I just want to share this. Just because you have something happen in your dream fast doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen in the natural that fast. You're only dreaming for basically really a short period of time. You don't think that John felt like when he had the dream about the revelations God showed him about the end times, the apocalypse, and the mark of the beast, he probably thought it was going to be quick. Right? So dreams and visions don't work out always in that manner. And I can say from experience, listening to dreams and visions concerning many different things besides crypto that were supposed to come quickly that never happened. Just because it's quick in your dream doesn't mean that it's quick in the natural. And I'm going to share some things because we have to look at history in the past as far as how long Bitcoin reached its all-time high and then it, crashing to all-time lows and then going back up and hitting all-time highs again and looking at that time frame. Now, I do think that things may happen a little bit quicker because we have all these trading bots in the cryptocurrency market, and you have a lot of nefarious people that are trying to manipulate the markets. But I also do think that the recovery will be much better under DJT than any other president. All of that remains to be seen. So Bitcoin hitting this pricing point doesn't mean it's going to crash from here. It could still go up to the 125 or even 150,000 pricing point, which a lot of chart readers have shared. But some of them are telling people to sell right now, right? People are looking for a black swan event. So we know what happened in the past. Just looking at Bitcoin right now, sitting at around 111,515, it did touch the surface of 112,000. But I think at this point right now, for me, I am just reevaluating everything that I have. I'm putting in stop losses. I'm looking at my buy, my sell limit orders, and I'm reevaluating a couple things. I'm also going to touch on limit orders because some of you may have not heard this before, or now you're desperate trying to put things in. And like I said, I'm not sure how fast, when we compare it to history, how fast it's going to go down. And because of these potential black swan events, like a Bitcoin hack and everything being dumped, yes, it could happen fast, or it could happen over a period of hours or even days. Right? However it happens, we are just trying to prepare for that. So now I'm going to go ahead and play the dream, which is the number one reason why we all are waiting for Bitcoin to crash to zero and why we have buy limit orders in. All right, folks. So like I said, and just because in a dream, like with him, if you look at his other past dreams, it doesn't necessarily go down like super quick, like in a second. He actually has more videos, and we've discussed all of those videos on this channel. And he also said in some other dreams about the recovery of Bitcoin. It's going to be harsh, and that's where we are kind of at right now with the crypto industry. It's only 7% global adoption. So I want to go ahead and share some of my thoughts on whether or not, how fast, how quick, what we looked for in the past and kind of put it all together and see what we can come up with. Now, one of the things that I want to do is this is just to ease your mind and not make you think that this is going to happen instantly or overnight because we have too many microwave prophecies, right? And just because you saw it fast, go up or down in a dream doesn't mean it is. because it took a long time for Bitcoin to reach 100,000, and some people said it would happen quickly. So when we go back to Bitcoin and we look at in November of 2021, where Bitcoin reached its all-time high, and it actually fell down from 69K to 15K to 15,000 in November of 2022. That's when we had FTX. You guys remember the FTX platform collapse? But there were some other things in between that. The Luna Classic stablecoin, that collapsed. Then you had some crypto banks that collapsed. There was some other platforms that were shutting down and many other things that were happening. But the big one came in November of 2022. So in between Bitcoin's previous high of 69,000 to 15,000, there were all these black swan events. Some of them were smaller, some of them were bigger. Luna Classic was a black swan event for crypto. The FTX collapse was the black swan event for crypto. Now, after all of this, from November of 2022, at 15,000, it took 2 years to reach 100,000. Now, whenever Bitcoin reaches this top, right, like the 69K, right, eventually what we are looking for is for it to slide all the way down, but to zero. But we're also expecting black swan events like it happened before to happen during this cycle too as well. We already know that the economy and the stock market is very weak. There's a lot of companies that could fold, that may have to sell off their Bitcoin. We talked about the China hack and the dump of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies on the markets. And other things that could happen that could take Bitcoin from where it's at right now at the 111,000 mark and eventually reach down to zero, right? And that could take a year. You could have other events that happen before a whole bunch of Bitcoin gets dumped, right? And we're just not talking about it's just natural pullback. You know, a lot of people have said it's going to pull back to around 90,000. So we're talking about much deeper than that. So we could have our market correction, and then we could have a black swan event or multiple black swan events over a period of time, or it could be over a short period of time. At this point, basically, according to his dream, that we're going into another crypto winter, right? He also said something about selling everything off, and you know, that's a choice that people will have to make. For me, I have stop losses, plus I've exited out of positions and took profit on many different coins already. Now, when it comes to Coinbase and low buy limit orders, since we can't really place them that low, there's like a certain percentage that you can place them either low or high, but it depends on how things are going to play out. Now, I believe I've been given a strategy concerning Coinbase during this event when Bitcoin does drop down to zero, and I'll get into that in another video because, you know, right now Coinbase doesn't allow us to put in super low buy limit orders or super high sell limit orders. So during this time period, I believe that there's going to be some wisdom with this in trying to take advantage of what's going to take place with Coinbase. Now, we've had to expand to other different platforms and so on. As far as here in the United States, our options are limited. So you either believe this is going to happen or not. If you don't have buy limit orders in and you're being critical, then just move on and forget all of this, because this is where the original prophecy came from. So from everybody else, it's nothing more than just a confirmation. So now we got the timing out of the way. So it could happen, you know, over a period of time, maybe over a year. It could happen over a period of a couple days or a week. We don't know exactly, but I think that, again, when I go back and look at some of the original prophetic dreams, not just from him, but a few other people, that's not necessarily a crash that's going to happen instantaneously. So the fall of Bitcoin may start at 111,000, or he's telling us to get out at 111,000, right, for the masses. Now, I do want to share before I get into this that this is not just the Christian wealth transfer movement that talks about placing low buy limit orders. And if you go do your research, and I did a video on this already, that there are people that have no idea what we're discussing as far as, dreams and visions and financial prophecy and all that, and they tell you to do the exact same thing. I even did a video on an article about how this one financial expert is saying that a flash crash for the crypto industry is needed. So I did a whole video on that. So this is not something that we're just crazy about, right? I'm not basing this just off of prophecy alone. I've did those videos already. In order to do this, you have to have a certain amount of money on each platform and however many cryptos. And basically, the way that I'm going to kind of show you how I do things, like if you just do $20 per crypto per platform, across maybe anywhere from 3 to 10 platforms. Some people even have more than that. I don't think that's necessary, but some people do. Now you can place low buy limit orders in USDT, USDC, and other stable coins, including foreign fiat on some platforms. Now there's too many platforms to go over and discuss which one has which or whatever, but there are some platforms that do not carry USDT. One of those platforms is called Gemini, and Coinbase is trying to reduce its use of USDT, right? And it's also vice versa. There are some platforms that only have USDT, or the volume between USDT and Bitcoin is a lot more than the volume between USDC and Bitcoin. So you have to plan accordingly. So I'm not going to put all my orders just on USDC. I'm going to mix it up according to the volume. So if I have 6 orders on a platform, then maybe I'll have 4 for USDT and 2 for USDC. And if you have a foreign fiat pair, like on Gemini, that link is down below in the description, by the way, you can place the British pound and the euro with a low buy limit order with Bitcoin. So that's what I've done, right? You just have to convert it over from USD to euro and then place your order. But if you're a beginner, you just want to make sure that you watch these videos on how to place low buy limit orders, and specifically for each platform. So you can just type that into YouTube, how to place low buy limit orders for Gemini, or how to place low buy limit orders for Kraken. And then you might have to go through a couple of videos to find somebody you like. And then once you do that and you get used to it, it'll be easier to do other platforms. Some platforms don't allow you to go below a penny. Some platforms don't allow you to go below $1. Some platforms will allow you to go lower than a penny with certain cryptos. But for Bitcoin, a lot of it is not, because the price is so high. Same with Ethereum. So you have to pick and choose which cryptos you want to target, and depending on how much money that you have. Now, we've been doing this for a long time, so I have a lot of buy limit orders for different cryptocurrencies, the top cryptocurrencies, the ones I know that are going to survive this next crypto winter. So you want to start off with 3 to 5 cryptos when you're first starting off. So let's say you want to place low buy limit orders for Bitcoin and Ethereum on Kraken and Gemini and Bitstamp, right? Because those are the 3 platforms us Americans can use for low buy limit orders. So here you can see where if you put in $5 and you place your limit order for 10 cents, that's 50 tokens. 1 cent is 500, half of that is 1,000, 0.001 is 5,000, 0001 is 50,000. So for me, I have different types of orders, not just $5, some are $10, right? Both in USDT and USDC on Kraken for various cryptocurrencies, right? So if you're limited in your funds, so with Bitcoin, you may put in an order for 10 cents, a penny, and then maybe if you're allowed to, 0.001. If you can't go below a penny, then you need to reserve that for maybe higher limit orders. Say, for instance, like if you place some at 20 cents or 25 cents or 50 cents or $1. So you take $5 and you put in a low buy limit order for $1. That's 5 Bitcoin if the order triggers. Now, keep in mind, when an order triggers, it's also trying to find you the best price. So when your order triggers, it can still purchase it lower than what you put it in. So even if you put in a low buy limit order for 10 cents and it goes to 1 cent, right? It can still fill below the 10-cent mark. It could fill at 9, it could fill at 7, it could fill at 6, it could fill at 1. You understand my point? So usually what I do, if you're placing a dollar order, and this all depends on your funding, but I might place a $10 Bitcoin order for $1 on top of the orders that I currently have. And I may do more of that. But not right now because I want to see how things play out. And I don't want to have all that money on that platform just sitting there doing nothing when I know I could place those orders later when I see the Bitcoin crash taking place. I believe it's going to go down in stages, but quicker. And at some point, the Bitcoin dump. But I'm not going to say this is all going to happen in seconds. So I'm just trying to be wise about having money in a whole bunch of limit orders when I know I could be using it for other things. Now, since we're getting closer to that, now I have to rethink how I'm doing things. So I don't have any $50 limit orders, I don't have any $100 limit orders, and I don't have any $100 limit orders. Right? I'll probably do that, like I said, later on, but I'm not going to do that right now. And you're fishing, and each platform is going to operate a little bit differently. So I wanted to make sure to spread myself out among, the top cryptocurrencies. I've had people tell me they had $1,000 worth of buy limit orders. Imagine that at 1 cent, right? That's 100,000 Bitcoin, right? Is that order going to fill? I guess it depends on how many people he has ahead of him and what platform and, and how all the things are going to play out. You know what I'm saying? So I don't recommend you putting that much on just one order, but some people do. And as I did in the last video, you may want to focus on other cryptocurrencies. You have Ethereum, XRP, BNB, Solana. And when you look at it by price, now I don't know if Pax Gold or Tether Gold is going to flash crash, but that's a possibility. So I just want people to think about that. And I wouldn't, I might put like a $5 order for both of those if it's available on your platform, but I wouldn't be putting, more than that. You have Maker, Bitensur, whatever it's called, Bitcoin Cash. And then what if you want to place a low buy limit order for a crypto like Shiba Inu or Luna Classic or whichever, and it's below a penny? And so if it's something that you desire and is part of the top 100 coins, when you place your low buy limit order, you may add 3 or 4 zeros. So what I have done on different platforms is I might have a $5 order for Shiba adding 3 zeros and then 4 zeros. And in some platforms, you can actually have almost 8 or 9 slots. So when it comes to Shiba Inu, if you look here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So people have said on some platforms, it may not be the ones that I'm on, that you can put that many zeros, right? So how many zeros and a 9, so you want to be able to place these orders as many zeros as you can for Shiba Inu. I don't think most are going to let you put a whole bunch of zeros, but you understand my point. You want to add an order for maybe 3 additional zeros and 4 additional zeros. So every platform is different, and you know what, folks? There's no rush to do this. There's no rush to put a whole bunch of money on, and I'm not saying, and Christopher Harris is not saying that this is going to happen instantly, but this is about being in position. Now, this is not something that you have to rush. Take your time. I don't think it's going to just flash crash from here to 0, and then we go through all this stuff, right? I don't think that's that right here at this moment. It could happen at any time, but I also don't think that it's going to happen as quick as people say that it's going to, like as if it's going to be just overnight. And according to other prophetic dreams and visions from early on, not all these newer ones over the last couple of years, because most of those people have been wrong about so many other things. Right? So we're not saying that this is going to happen fast, super fast, or it's going to happen slow, it's going to happen over a year. There's no timing to this of when these things could happen. And I believe that this could actually be, the 111,000 could be the safe point to exit. Not necessarily the top, but a safe place for the general public who are paying attention to this to get out of the markets. Yes, it still could go up to 125,000. It could go up to 120 or 15 or whatever. But all this remains to be seen, and we'll just wait to see what happens over the next few weeks to a month. Right? I'm still expecting a market correction. And maybe that's when the Bitcoin hack will come, is after the market correction. I have no idea. All I know is that we're in position, and we're going to continue to get into position. And even if it doesn't crash to zero, folks, it's going to crash again so low anyway, because it's part of a market cycle. We go through market cycles, whether it's the crypto or the stock market. So these things are going to happen, just like we're preparing for the next market crash. And in the meantime, you learn how to trade. You buy and trade stocks and make some money, and to prepare for that moment. And that's all that we're trying to do here. So maybe they are holding off things with the SEC and the XRP case, and these are all things that weaken the markets. It's not really strong right now. Legislation is moving slow, right? We got the whole stablecoin thing going on right now, but we still don't have regular crypto regulations. They're delaying all the ETFs and all these other things that these companies are applying for, and maybe they're just going to release all the bulls at once. Trump keeps talking about America being the Bitcoin capital and all this stuff. That maybe that's one of the reasons why they want to make him look bad if they can take Bitcoin out, because this country is heading in a direction that our enemies don't like. So, folks, we just wait and see. Take this day by day. Anyways, thank you guys for listening, and God bless.